What's going on there, everyone, and welcome back to the video from Dracon. What's going on, guys? We're getting into the Pathfinder battles, the Mwangi Expanse, Adult Cloud Dragon. Now, the Mwangi Expanse, I believe, was supposed to be this more African lore stuff going on, like all their cultural lore and cryptids and stuff, which I think was a pretty cool idea. I mean, I've seen some of the minis from the actual set, so maybe at some point in the future, I'm going to grab myself a actual booster brick of these things, or at least a couple packs, and open up and see what we get. I mean, I've seen a couple like leopards, owl spirits, and spider creatures. I wonder if that's supposed to be based on a Nancy. Well, anyway, and they're pretty cool looking. I mean, I might have to grab at least a few, see what I can get. I mean, I'd love to get me some more critters like leopards and stuff. Those are always nice. Always nice to get more animals. And I do have 3D printing options, but you know, I want to save myself a couple hours, so. And then they're pre-ready out of the box. So let's take a look at the side art of this. I'm not going to worry about the front panel because the lighting on it, due to how they made a recess in the front, doesn't really, like, it makes the lighting look really bad, and I don't want to have to show you guys a crappy lighting. So let's do that before we open this thing up. Now here is the dragon's side art. This is a lot more of what you'll see if you say go to order it online. You're going to see this for the dragon's artwork because, you know, it's the standard artwork. And the artwork looks pretty nice. I mean, it's pretty simplistic. I do notice that in the artwork, based on looking at the dragon in the box, he's a little more on the whiter side than he is, and versus like how his horns look a little more like a sort of bone color and stuff like that. They're a lot whiter on the miniature. I think he could have used a little bit more of a wash on his parts, give him a little more wash look. But I mean, cloud dragons probably are, since they are mostly a sky going breed, I'm going to assume they're probably very clean, so they probably don't need as much grunge and dirt, so I guess I can understand it. But let's move on to the actual mini itself. So 1 second while I open this bad boy up with the old blade of opening and get it open for you guys. So here we have the dragon rotating nice and easy on the base, and it's not a bad looking dragon. I mean, as you can see, he's got some lovely scale work. I like the scale design kind of going on there in the back. The front scales are your basic standard large stomach scales, not much for their like uniqueness. The head there is very nice. I do like the head with the 4 horns, which will stop right there. Here's a quick zoom, like up close shot on the face. And as you can see, he's got some very lovely details going on here in the horns, the side of the arm and such. Like, you're noticing like what I mean, though. I wish his, like, the horns and the white fleshy bits on his body were a little darker. They're just not, the whiteness makes sense for being a cloud dragon. So I prefer it would match the artwork on the box a little more. But it's still pretty good. I like the horns. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of a skull dragon or black dragon, which I will have one here to compare in a minute because I'm going to do a size comparison. But like looking at this dragon, it's got some nice details there in the face. Kind of almost has like, because of his scales, like it looks like he's a tuft of fur coming off the top of the head heading down the back, which is pretty cool. And I like the wings on this beast. Let's go back to the rotation view and we'll get a nice continuation rotating shot here. Here we are back to the rotating pan shot, and as you can see, I like the, like I said, the slick back wings look pretty good. I'm used to ideas of dragons looking different and menacing and all, with like the cupping wings in the front, that more aggressive look, like they're about to take you down and kill you. This one, I like the wings. I like the wing look. It looks pretty cool. It looks almost like he's about to do that dive bombing trick you see hawks and falcons do, where they do that dive bomb. Well, sorry, actually more falcons, but still, it's pretty cool. Now, this dragon, to me, I think it being an adult, maybe this isn't the worst thing. If it's a chromatic dragon, I think the other chromatics would see this as a lesser chromatic dragon. This is not like a high-ranking chromatic, and it's not a metallic because it's definitely too, like, shiny, I guess, or too, like, very pale in the scale. That's actually a good rhyme. But it's a very nice dragon. It looks pretty cool. It looks aerodynamic. I mean, the scales and body do have an aerodynamic look to them. The horns on the front don't work so much for a very aerodynamics. Honestly, the Pathfinder dragon's blue dragon aesthetic with the slick back horns would make way more sense to me. Or if this dragon just didn't have horns. I don't know why every dragon has to have horns on its head. But I mean, they probably needed something to be a little more like distinguishing. I would have been more actually idealistic if it had more of like kind of an avatar look, like the dragons or the banshees and the Turok, you know, the long back slick pieces like that would make way more sense, and that more alien look would make way more sense on a dragon like this. I mean, this thing's supposed to be going through the clouds, not being there to like just simply get stuck by the wind. That would be a lame idea. Now let's compare this thing quick to some of the other dragons. Like I was talking about, we're talking about the sizing thing that I have with this dragon. So here we have the two dragons from Pathfinder next to each other. This is the Pathfinder Large Blue Dragon. And if you guys haven't seen the video where I actually unboxed and got this bad boy, go check that out. I mean, I love that I unboxed this dragon. It was an awesome snag that day from the set. And if you look at how much smaller he is in the adult and the head and such, I guess you could understand why they're a different scale and size. But this dragon could be like the D&D dragons that are young adult, the young dragons, or they're not exactly adults. I like to call them sub-adults personally. That stage in between adult and like child, that in between, like sort of the young adult, like when humans are like in their teens slash like their later teens, like 18 and such like that. You're not an adult yet, but you're really close, and you may get a little bit bigger when you hit like the 21 stage, something like that. Like, you know, you're still young adult type deal, which is fair. The dragons, I think, have that similar idea. Like, they hit a young adult stage, but, you know, like I said, with the Cloud Dragon, maybe they're considered lesser by their kin because maybe they don't get as big. Maybe for them, huge is maybe the max they get. If they do get any larger, maybe it's rare because they do have to probably compete with other creatures such as rocks and other dragons. And I feel Cloud Dragons be very kind of almost very nomadic. I mean, they rule the skies, so they fly probably wherever they wish, and whether it comes into conflict, they probably don't expect that until it happens. But I mean, looking at him, like I said, it could easily be mistaken for a young dragon. It could be useful. I wouldn't mistake it for a blue dragon. It's way too light in colors, even with the Pathfinder's blue dragons there, which are more a little bit lighter than D&D's, but still, you can see a very big difference. But let's move on to comparing them to one of the unpainteds that I painted up, the black dragon. So here's a little bit of like what I call an up-close view of the two dragons. It actually kind of looks like the blue dragon's about to bite him. But as you can see, comparatively, now this is supposed to be a young black dragon based on the unpainted set. This is what I call a sub-adult dragon, because as you can see, it's pretty big. The young dragons from the unpainted set are definitely great if you're looking for an adult dragon without paying the ridiculous price, and if you're willing to do a little paint work like I did here. I mean, my black dragon came out really good, but I've been painting for years, so I'm not surprised. And I like his more dynamics to this dragon. You can see where I'm talking about with the curved front horns. Definitely makes you feel similar. The face is definitely not. That he has a very rounded snout, which is telling me it's more like an alligator probably bite, where it has a strong bite force and has a wider distribution of the force, which is good. It's not a bad thing. But I mean, the only reason the black dragon probably doesn't have a rounded nose like that, though, is probably because he has the skull indentation, giving him the AKA skull dragon appearance. Now, seeing in size, though, they're not much different. This dragon is like would be able to challenge this cloud dragon, in my opinion, and probably take it down. And if this is the size of a sub-adult black dragon versus an adult cloud dragon, you can see why the cloud dragons probably don't do so well when it comes to like their numbers, because the other dragons probably wipe them out. They probably think of them as like lesser and inferior, like the very new release Dragon Elves from Fizbins, or like, you know, they see them as a lesser dragon that doesn't deserve respect. Like, they might not kill them for the sense they are draconic, but then if they get in their way, they go, well, too bad for you, buddy, and they wipe them out. I don't know what the cloud dragon stats are. I mean, like, I don't have any Pathfinder books. I'd probably use Cobalt Press's Cloud Dragon, even though it's a little bit more... It's got more of a unique color scheme to it like that. I mean, I could repaint this dragon, but I ain't going to do that. I'm just grateful to get another dragon that's different, unique, and doesn't exactly match the mold. But we are going to compare him to one more... But we are going to think one more thing difference, though. Compared to other, like, the new adult dragons coming out from WizKids, like the giant white dragons, the giant blue, the red dragons, all these like adult dragons that came out, this dragon really doesn't hold a candle. I mean, you can think about how big that is. True, D&D is kind of changing everything up and making some new dragons and stuff, which is fine. I have no problem with that, but I mean, those dragons, like, it looks like to me, the Cloud Dragon seems to be a bit of a beaten down member of the family. It's not as prominent. Sorry, I just switched to a nice, lovely 3-shot so you can see him with the other two dragons I'm comparing him with. Now, is this dragon worth the price? You know what? I got this dragon for around $39, so around 40-something bucks. That's not too bad for a dragon of this size. I mean, it's like a smaller adult, so like I said, with this being a lesser species that is more elemental in the sense, like it doesn't need to be as big and bulky, because maybe like they're saving grace to the other dragons, like I said with the falcon idea. Maybe these things will dart out of the sky and they'll fold up and dart to the ground and then fly, like open their wings quick and dart around, and maybe they can curve on a dime. Maybe they can bank really fast and the other dragons can't compete with speed. Maybe the only dragon that maybe has a chance of catching them are yellow dragons. So maybe cloud dragons are careful in the deserts to avoid any yellow dragons in the rare chance they come across them. But do remember there are blue dragons that fire lightning, and lightning travels very quick. So there's probably no way of saying like they probably avoid their kind of bluish cousins to not get struck down from the skies. However, I gotta say, I do like it though. It's not bad, but it's not amazingly great. I like this dragon isn't going to be something you're going to put in the collection and go like, oh man, he's a really big eye catcher. No. For the price, I think honestly, I would say he's probably worth more, like, I'd say maybe $30, because he's similar to like Chief Guh. He's a miniature you get your hands on, but he's not gonna, like I said, he's never going to be an eye-catching, like, oh, the Cloud Dragon. You're never going to be amazed that you've got him in the collection. He's more of a meh dragon. He's like other dragons. Like my black dragon there catches way more attention than he does when I look at them on like connections on a shelf. The blue dragon, because of its dynamic on top of that rock spire look with that growling down face, is more impressive. But remember, cloud dragons are simple. Most likely they're lesser. And, you know, they probably don't want to get as much attention grabbing because they want to fly free, have advantage on their prey not to be seen, and in the end, live their life the way they can with freedom and not being bothered by anyone that could be a threat or like attention they don't want. So it's pretty cool. I gotta admit, this is a nice dragon. It's not an amazing dragon. I'd say maybe if I had to go by star level of like 1 to 5 stars, I'd probably give this a 3.5. It's a good dragon, but it's not exactly there where I think it's warranting 40. So if you can get him for a good deal, like I did where he was down to 40, if he's gone up in price, I'd recommend not getting him. But if he drops down to like easily 30, I'd jump on the chance immediately. That's a great deal for this dragon. It's pre-painted. It could probably do a little touch up, like I said, in the eyes. His eyes need a little touch up, but that's probably because the person who painted it probably didn't have a brush fine enough to get in there, or maybe they accidentally put blue on top of it and got rid of it. But I have a little, my paint pokers that I can get in there, and I can give him a little black and touch in the eyes, get that full black look, because I liked that. It looked pretty cool in the artwork. And maybe I might try to slightly wash his white body parts to make them a little more on the tanner side, like a more beige-ish look. Because I think that would look better than this pure white, like sort of almost feel. Well, anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for staying for the whole video if you have. If you're one of my awesome subscribers, thank you for coming back. If you're one of the new people, hey, subscribe. Make sure you help grow the channel, guys. Share it with your friends and all that stuff. And if you have not gotten any notifications, we know how YouTube is. Go to the notifications bell. You know, redo the subscription, like, you know, rechange your notifications, get that bell icon to all so you're not missing out when I do post. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Have a great one, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.